Happy Sunday, everyone. This is just a quick video to update you on where we've been and where we're heading in English 108 Online. First of all, I just want to thank you all for being so diligent and responsive on your homework assignments so far. I think we've had nearly 100% completion, which is really, really good. If you haven't turned stuff in for Sunday yet, please do so as soon as you possibly can. As you know, for tonight I've asked you to do two things in particular. The first thing is that I asked you to take a really close look at a textbook from another class, and I just want to reiterate the reason that we're doing this is because to this point you've probably been trained to basically write using a limited set of tools, and those tools so far have probably looked like words, sentences, and paragraphs. The interesting thing about technical writing and writing for the workplace in particular is that we are able to incorporate a host of other things into our writing, including the very same things that you're referencing in those textbook reflections, which include things like tables, lists, visual imagery, examples, samples, definitions, etc. And so I like to start the semester with that particular assignment because it really gets all of our tools on the table. It really gets us thinking about, as writers, what can we do to make a text reader or user friendly. And so that's really what we're up to there. And then I ask that you tell me what you think are important resume qualities. And really what I'm trying to do here is to get us to put those two things together, because a resume is a really interesting document in that studies tell us that the average reader spends anywhere between 10 and 45 seconds reading it the first time around. And so what that should indicate to us is that they have to be very easy to read. A resume is a really complex and difficult document to write because you're essentially taking your life's work so far, which for some of you may be more than others, and you're trying to condense that down onto one page. And what that requires you to do is to think really carefully about how you use the space of the page, what types of language you use, what you choose to include, what you choose to not include. So I really just wanted to see what your experience with writing resumes sort of looked like, because we're going to spend most of week 2 really delving into the nitty-gritty of resume writing. And so I'll follow up in a few days with a much more detailed video that explains what I think are the best practices for resume writing, what I'm going to call Resume Writing 101. You'll supplement that, of course, with some readings that you'll see in the week 2 folder. So, in addition to being easy to read, resumes also have to be very tailored to a particular audience. One of the things that I like to tell folks when I'm giving presentations about resumes is that if you're sending the same resume to multiple employers, you are fundamentally doing it wrong. You really want to be making fine-tuned adjustments to that resume to make it match the needs of a specific audience. And an example I give sounds something like this. I'll use nursing as an example. You may graduate from a nursing program and be a registered nurse, but chances are you're going to apply to a variety of different nursing positions that require a range of different skills. So you would be doing yourself and your experience a disservice, say, if you sent a resume to an employer looking for a nurse in a psychiatric ward, and you just sent them a generic resume that didn't speak to your specific skills in the types of things that psychiatric nurses have to be good at, like patient de-escalation and the passing of particular types of meds, etc. Likewise, if you have a very specific resume, say tailored to a psychiatric type position, and you apply to work in a geriatric ward with older people, there's going to be a misalignment there. So what you really want to do is we're really going to try to focus on choosing the right types of experiences, the right types of entries, the right types of information to put on our resume to really prove that we are exceptional and uniquely qualified for a particular position. And so that's what we're going to spend most of week 2 doing. So in addition to being easy to read, your resume also has to be really closely and finely tuned to a particular position. And so I'm going to leave you with those two thoughts. And so please be on the lookout for the follow-up video to this, which will be a much more thorough and detailed explanation of sort of where I'm coming from when I talk about resumes, but I want to wait until you've had an opportunity to look at what the Purdue Owl has to say about resumes before I pass that video along to you. So if you have any questions or concerns about what's going on in the class, as always, don't hesitate to email me or contact me. As I've said before, my cell phone number is on the syllabus. And again, I just want to thank you for being active participants in the class. This week is a very important week. You're going to learn a tremendous amount about resumes, and hopefully you'll be able to parlay that into what will ultimately be the best resume that you've ever produced. So again, thanks for the reflections on the textbooks. Just in my cursory glance at those, it seems like people are picking up on the very types of things that I was hoping that you'd pick up on. It's no mistake that those chapters come to look the way that they do. The writer of that text has thought very carefully about who their audience is and what their audience is trying to do. In our case, they're writing to college students who have a very limited understanding of the content that they're writing about, and they are trying to educate them. And so to do that, they have to pull out all the stops. They have to provide illustrations and examples and case studies and all of those types of things. So again, that's just trying to get us to think about our toolkit, because one of the things that I hope you become in this class is an engineer of communication, where you look at a problem and you solve it using the tools at your disposal, very similar to the way a mechanical engineer would look at, or any type of engineer looks at a problem and then looks at the array of tools and solutions that they have, and then put forward a solution. So thanks a lot.